Mwaramutse neza mwese. Ndagira ngo mpere ku bayobozi b'ikirenga b'igihugu cyacu namwe mwese muri hano mu nteko, mbashimira imirimo mufitiye igihugu no kuba twahuriye hano kugira ngo dusoze uyu muhango wo kwakira abagiye mu myanya bafitiye inshingano zitandukanye gukorera abanyarwanda. Kugira ngo rero mwire aba bayobozi ko twishimiye indahiro yanyu no kwitanga kwanyu n'ubushake mufite gukorera igihugu cyacu. Sinshidikanya ko ibyo mwarahiriye muzabyuzuza uko bikwiye. Nanagira ngo mbasezeranye ko ni ibisanzwe abo musanze bazafatanya namwe kugira ngo mwuzuzanye imirimo ikorwe neza uko tubibatezeho. Ndumva rero ariko nagira ngo nibutse ko muri izo ndahiro bye twemeje gukorera igihugu cyacu bitari ugukora nk'abapagasi. Ntabwo umuntu azinduka mu gitondo ngo ajye ku kazi gusa, imashini cyangwa umuntu yandike ko yahageze isaha iyi n'iyi. Niyo umuntu yagera ku kazi ntagire icyo akora ariko hagereye igihe tukaza gutahira igihe, birashoboka ko abantu bakora batyo. Nibyo mvuga ko rimwe na rimwe mu bapagasi abakora nabi hari abakora batyo, ariko ngira ngo icyo tubatezeho ari imwe murahiye uyu munsi cyangwa n'abandi barahiye ikindi gihe, ni ugukora abantu bikorera, ni ugukora abantu batekereza abo dukorera, igihugu cyacu, icyo turi cyo, icyo dushaka kuba cyo, tukagikorera, tugakorera abanyarwanda n'u Rwanda, tukabaho neza nk'uko bikwiye nk'abandi bantu ku isi ko babyifuza. Mpereye kuri ibyo rero, uko abantu bashaka kuba, barakuba. Iyo ushaka kugera ku byiza ubigeraho, iyo ushaka kunyura inzira zoroshye cyangwa ngufi, hari ibyo utekereza ntumenye gutanga igikenewe kugira ngo niyo cyaba kigoye ugere aho ujya. Iyo utabikoze ntugerayo. Ni uguhitamo rero, kandi ngira ngo ubundi twahisemo kubisubiramo gusa. Guhitamo ntawe uguhitiyemo. iyo utiyubashye ntawe uzakubaha nta na rimwe, usibye ko niyo wiyubaha haba hari abatakubaha, ariko ibyo ntacyo bitwaye. Ikintu cy'icyo turi cyo dushaka kuba cyo, ndibwira ko atari n'ikintu cyacu twenyine nk'Abanyarwanda. Abandi bo babigezeho. Twebwe nk'Abanyarwanda, Abanyafurika, turacyari mu nzira yo gushaka kuba icyo dushaka kuba cyo. Ni inzira ndende. Buri munsi twibutswa ko ari inzira ndende, ndetse bamwe bagacika intege, bakagwa ku ruhande rw'inzira, bakavamo urugendo, bagategereza undi wabagoboka, wabagira icyo ashaka ko baba cyo kurusha kubagira icyo bo ubwabo bashaka kuba cyo. Iyo utegereje utyo nicyo ubona. Ubona uguha ukuboko akaguhagurutsa, akakugira icyo ushaka kuba cyo, icyo ashaka ko uba cyo, we icyo ashaka nicyo akugira. Ntashobora kukugira icyo ushaka kuba cyo. Abayobozi muri hano, ibyo navuga gukora nk'abapagasi, ikibihindura, ikibinyuranya, cyatuma udashaka udakora nk'umupagasi, ni uko ugomba guhitamo gukora ibikomeye, ibigoye, kugira ngo wigenere kuba icyo ushaka kuba cyo, utakigenewe n'undi. Kangere ku ngingo ituma nshaka kuvuga ibyo byose, ni ikibazo kiriho ubu ngubu as we speak. Uko ubu ngubu, right now, we have a case in that struggle where we want to determine for ourselves what to be, not somebody else deciding for us what to be. There is a case as we speak. It's not an isolated case. It's one of many cases that remind us how hard it is to travel on that journey for us to be able to decide, to make choices of our future, of who we want to become. We have one of our senior officials of government, the head of Security and Intelligence Organization, a general, a freedom fighter, somebody who fought with us to make this country what it has become, and on this long journey toward what we want to become. picked on the street in London. He's an official. He's going to do duties that fall in his responsibilities. And he's arrested as he's boarding the plane to come back home. From that, we are told that there was a request from Spain, another country, Spain, that's in the UK first, then in Spain, that this person is wanted in Spain, therefore should be extradited to Spain for whatever crimes Spain says they want him for. And then we are told that the UK has a legal obligation to hand this person over by Spain, to Spain, wanted by Spain. And it doesn't matter what facts, what circumstances, what context, he must be handed over. It's an obligation. But that is very selective. Even by legal obligation, that is being very selective. Because UK has another legal obligation. The legal obligation is, this is an official of the state of Rwanda, of the people. A people who respect themselves, who don't offend others. A people who want to decide what they become. Not UK, not Spain, not France, deciding who they become. And it will never happen. So just pick a security chief on the street, like one of these thugs on the streets. So there is no obligation. According to them, there is no legal obligation. They have towards Rwanda for their official, somebody with a diplomatic status, because there is this other obligation they have toward Spain. Now, but look at the depth of this matter. First, it is France. Second, it is Spain. Now third, it's UK. I don't know who is coming next. All directed to inconvenience, to destabilize, to just show absolute contempt they have for Rwanda and for the African. Absolute contempt. Something African, something Rwandan, doesn't feature anywhere in their considerations when it comes to making choices. It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. I know that. But any decent human being, any decent Rwandan, any decent African, even any decent person from those countries cannot accept this. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In fact, sometimes I feel like being cynical about it, but let me put it this way. I think it is good, I really feel happy that of all people, it happens to us, Rwandans. Maybe if it had happened somewhere else, it would just disappear. But here, it is happening to the right people. The right people who want to stand up to this and who will always stand up to this. I am happy that such a people pick on us. They pick on Rwanda to be the ones to treat like this. And we are up to the job in many ways. We don't have the power of wealth of military strength, of technology, of all kinds of things these countries have or pride in. But we have one thing, or a couple of things. We have the power of the Spirit. We have the power of being underrated. The power that comes from the anger of being held in contempt, the power that comes from anger of being insulted, the power that comes from the anger of being pushed against the wall. Because when that happens, and when you are left with nothing else, building on that spirit, you come back in full strength. We have the power of resilience. We have the power that derives from the anger of the attempt in the history to wipe us off the surface of the earth, and we refuse to go. Those who want and who are behind were associated with the genocide that happened here in Rwanda. They did not reach the point they wanted to reach, not because they changed their mind on the way, not because they forgave us, but because they failed to achieve it. So they won't achieve it now. They won't achieve it today. People may think they can put us down, but you'll never take us out. We are decent people. We are people of strength enough to not accept this rubbish of injustice. You know, I kept reading comments on the social media, different things about. And I happened to read something about, you know, some really, I think, useless African, but held in high esteem. I'll come to that point even in another way. Writing that, you see, it is right for these people to be arresting Karenzi because it is time to do justice. That the victims of justice, of genocide, got justice. And now it is the time for justice of others. Now, what that means to me, you see, the history of my country, the history of your country, isn't the history we read in books. It's the history we have lived. So, but my question here was, in my mind, oh, so really the victims of genocide got justice. But is it what the victims, those people who were targeted in genocide, before genocide happened, were they, or were these same people really thinking about saying, oh, let genocide happen and we will get justice? So in other words, it was okay to lose 1 million people as long as there was going to be something that looks like justice at the end of it. So this person who works for human rights who was saying that must have gone nuts in his mind. We did not need a genocide here in Rwanda. If he wants it for other people, let him recommend that. We did not want, between the two, it's as if Rwandans chose justice after they have got genocide. But have they even got justice? Have they got justice? Every single day, they are all over the place chasing, hunting down people who actually fought, sacrificed, stopped genocide, and protect and pride in associating with those who actually carried it out. They do. Those capitals are full of people who carried out genocide here in Rwanda. If you are saying those who stopped it should be tried for stopping it, or for any mistakes these individuals, some individuals could have made during that time, and you equate it to genocide, well, again, it's an issue of being selective. Why don't they look a little bit back in their history? And therefore, what the history would have suggested would have been to try those people who stopped those who were carrying out the Holocaust. In Nuremberg, they should have tried the Allied forces that stopped the Holocaust. They should have stopped, charged and tried those who fought the Nazis. Why didn't it happen? Because it's not an African situation. Today, all these stories you hear about, in fact, what they don't say out there a couple of things. Spain wants somebody from Rwanda for anything. They've never asked Rwanda. Spain has never asked Rwanda to try or to discuss whatever issues they need to talk about relating to whatever they have in mind about justice. It's actually Rwanda several times that has gone to Spain and asked them, I said, what's your problem? No, it's like they don't have to say anything. They'll wait until somebody is out, or they created these cases to actually inconvenience people so that they don't travel anywhere to do their business. But as we sit here, even with these judges and others who, some of them were sworn in today, they can tell me they are land people in matters of law. I want to understand under what circumstances the laws of countries like ours or others become completely subordinate to the laws of other countries, to the point that other countries will say, no, we think somebody did something in your country, we want them here to answer something. And sometimes these cases are decided on by village judges. Like you have one of our villages and the judges there operating on their own and summoning and saying to a country that they want their minister, they want, and they are doing like this with their finger. Yes, that tells the story. that tells the story. We have discussed this matter between Europe and Africa in our last meeting of heads of state and the government in Brussels. This matter came up very well and it has been discussed at the AU summit. But every time they decided to shelve it because they want this kind of situation to go on and go on forever. So it is history repeating itself in a different form. It is a continuation of slavery, of colonialism, of arrogance, and bigotry, and telling the African, wagging a finger at them and saying, this is where you belong. We are no longer the African that belongs there. But there are Africans who belong there. Even among us. Even those who sit and drink and live with us. And these are the Africans preferred, of course, by those countries because in the end they serve their interests. One typical example, in fact, even associated with this case, we have Rwandans who are out there who exiled themselves under all sorts of claims. But all of them having cases here to answer for. All of them. Not a single one of them that does not have a case to answer here. Not a single one of them. If you check on their records, some ran away, they used to be in the army, and they have committed a series of crimes on record. They are there, they are record. Others from outside. Others who used to work in places that you know. One of them who used to work for me. And the only thing he can talk about that one can look around especially without knowing other things. The only thing he can pride in is having ever worked for me. That's the only thing. Nothing else. And he ran away twice. He deserted and asked for mercy to come back to work. We allowed him to come back. Then he worked for some time. He was in another mess. He ran away again. But when he's out there, this is this man Himbara. You hear of every day, even yesterday or whenever he was on the radio talking about this case. Of course, these are people these countries find very important to associate with. And you know the reason? Among them, you have seen this BBC documentary, the so-called Untold Story. No, What they are talking about is not the untold story. The untold story is what underlies that documentary. The untold story is that these countries and the people who are behind it in those countries want to change the narrative, the actual story of what has happened in Rwanda that they were so deeply involved in. So they want to mask it by saying, no, it's not us. Look, these are the savages of Africa who kill each other. The genocide, no, it was between the Hutus and the Tutsis. This is the normal thing in Africa. It is the normal thing in Rwanda. These blacks turn on each other and kill one another. It's the normal thing. For us to have, there's nothing to do with us in those things that happened. So that they retain the moral ground on which to always operate from, dictating to the very Africans. Yeah, so that it's not us. For us, we are people of high standing and above these fellows, so we can't. But of course, inadvertently, they make one big mistake. How do you maintain any credible ground by associating with such criminals who feed you, who advise you, who you want to front and say, oh, you know, these are people who respect democracy, who respect human rights. They have run to us. You know, the government in Rwanda was about to kill them and kill them. Since when did we become killers? These same people have killed more people than they can claim that Africans ever killed. Among those they killed, they have killed Africans, millions. How? How do we become killers? How do we give our lives to save our country and our people, and at the end of the day we are killers? Just because you hobnob with these foolish fellows, actually criminals, in our own country, whom you use as witnesses to say, look, these ones have credible evidence that so-and-so did this, so-and-so did this. You are using criminals. How can you pride in hobnobbing with criminals? These Rwandans they use, in fact, even those who gave advice to those who arrested Karenzi are criminals from here. One of them is now is even one of them happens to have now a dual citizenship. He's British, he's Rwandan. A fellow called, people see him on Twitter every day, called Rene Mugenzi. How he wants to be of political influence in UK and then in Rwanda at the same time is going to be difficult. But him and another thug from our army who ran away is a criminal called Marara. They move around, tell the police, you know, the head of security of Rwanda is here in town. You know, we are threatened. We feel threatened because he will kill us. And then the others, oh, okay, we'll go for him. That's one of the things that happened. Because this man, Karenzi, was arrested 3-4 days after. In fact, we didn't know. That's how much they can hold us all in contempt. We didn't know, but these fellows knew because they were writing it, those who follow, who read online news and so on. These same fellows, Rene, Marara, and some of their foreign friends living in Canada and one in the US, they are already writing, talking about the arrest of this man on the 17th of June, when we are told is when the indictment, the request for extradition came from Spain. For us, we only knew when he was being arrested. So these people have formed their own imaginary state of Rwanda that lives out there that they work with to determine what happens to us. This is not serious. Absolutely not serious. How can this be? Hey, as I said last time here, somebody says, we are really good friends. We even support your development, which we appreciate, by the way. But do you support my development and take away my dignity at the same time? Oh, you are really helping me because you despise me. Is that the meaning? You support my development, but at the same time you despise me. You hold me in contempt. This level of disdain is just unacceptable. To tell me, you see, you are not good enough. You are not relevant enough to deserve any respect from me. This is what the story is about. So now the argument, how can the argument be extradition? You want to extradite this Rwandan general to Spain. No, you should not have arrested him in the first place. There are no grounds on which anyone should have arrested our chief of intelligence under any circumstances. You are talking about justice. Justice has a course it follows that respects certain norms. So I can't discuss with you. I don't understand the grounds on which we talk about extradition. Extradition to where? What right does Spain or any country have in this matter to try Rwanda, to try this head of intelligence? What right did this country have to arrest him in this manner? Later on now, talk about extradition. None of these two or more things have any basis, have anything other than absolute arrogance and holding people in contempt. Those are the only basis. can only be the only basis. So if people talk about rule of law, if they respect their laws even, you can't treat people like this. If this is how Africans must be treated, imagine if we're arrested here for any good reason. Even for any good reason, we're arrested. One of their chiefs of anything. Is that even thinkable? Is that even something you can think of? You know what would happen? But it is easy to do it to the African, let alone, and I think they must have mistaken him for, this problem they have of illegal immigrants. These fellows who are sinking in the boats in the Mediterranean, these brothers and sisters of ours and the children and so on. The way they treat that is the way they treat a minister from Africa, the head of intelligence. Yeah, they really must have mistaken him for that. This illegal immigrant, what is he looking for here? But they know also that he works with them. He's been working with them on many sensitive things. That's how they turn around and But of course, again, it's in other places, Africans have, or black people have turned into, shooting practice. They become shooting practice targets. When people are learning to shoot, they have dummies, they have targets made from paper or something. They put the bull there and they miss, they hit. So actually, as we know it, we Africans and other blacks, wherever, we've become targets of shooting practice, of trigger-happy people. Whenever they want to learn firing bullets, they practice on us. That's how far it has gone, or it has been. So they want to hold in esteem the Africans whom the Africans don't respect at all. They are the ones they respect. Like these fellows I was talking about, some of them just criminals, petty criminals. Thugs, literally. These Himbaras and their sponsors. There's a man who used to be a businessman here called Rujugiro. We found he's the one who paid the money to sponsor, to finance the other hearing which Himbara had in another friendly country. Himbara appearing anywhere to talk about Rwanda. Can you imagine? Why don't they invite one of you to go and talk about Rwanda? Why do they invite Himbara? Because he has a bad story to tell about us. Well, if there are bad stories about us, we will take care of that ourselves. You don't have to take care of me. You don't have to take care of my bad story. I don't take care of your bad story. If there are any wrongs here, if there are any things that need to be put right here, and there will always be many things to put right, absolutely. We should be the people who can look at it and put things right that we need to put right. But for somebody else to want to put right the wrong they may be perceiving happening here, is not the way to do business. But of course, I think they've run this kind of business for too long that they've got too used to that. Pulling back from it is almost impossible for them. They think every other day it is sweeter to continue practicing the same thing, even as it gets worse with us and makes us angrier every day, more angry every day. So I don't think we come here, we swear in ministers, judges, MPs, and we just go. And we just go and do what if we don't internalize this and understand it? And any decent human being, any decent Rwandan, any decent anybody, we cannot accept that people will do to us whatever they want because they can. No. We will do things with the people because it is the right thing to do. And they should be doing with us or to us the right things, not just because they can. Not just because they can. So we will keep our heads cool, just need to keep your heads cool, because some of these things can drive people to a level of anger that you may even make a mistake. So just keep your heads cool. I'm trying to keep mine cool. I'm really trying. I'm trying, I'm struggling, but I'm not finding it easy, but I know I have to keep my head, I have to keep the calm that is necessary to do things right. It's important. Otherwise, the anger that people might have about others and what they do to us can drive people crazy. They can influence people to make mistakes. Yes, can influence people. They can make people make mistakes, and we shouldn't make mistakes. But that doesn't mean we can accept any mistake being done against us. No. I think in the end, we must and will prevail. It doesn't matter how long. Other things we learned in our earlier days is really to be patient. But be patient and not just hope for time. Time is important in the patience, but it is also what you do in the time. It's what you do. You just don't sit back and say you are waiting it out and that you are patient. You must be patient while you are doing something. So these struggles you see we've been in, they take a long time. They take and require a lot of patience. But even more, they require a lot of thinking, hard thinking, and a lot of doing. And simply have the right spirit that won't easily be broken. So those who take on us, we advise them that we are aware we are in it for a long haul. Yes. So we can absorb a lot of these things and still remain with our heads high. There are too many things to say. I think I should maybe allow you time to go and have your own thinking and more so doing of things that can make our country better in spite of all these things that happen to us. Thank you very much.